This is a short video about how to write an annotated bibliography. This is a video intended for students who are in a first-year writing course. And for an annotated bibliography, this first slide is about how you would set up your annotated bibliography. An annotated bibliography is your guide for the source material that you found to include in your research paper. In my class that we're teaching, this is a required document for the course, but it is also very helpful for when you are doing a larger research paper in organizing your ideas and thoughts about what your source material will be doing for your paper. So when you're setting up your document, there are two aspects of this paper that are different than a normal MLA style paper, and they're listed as following. The title for your paper is Annotated Bibliography, and this is really the only MLA type paper that requires the same title no matter what. So normally in an MLA paper, you're going to have a different title for every paper that you write. But in this case, you're going to have the same. This one is going to have the same title no matter what, which is Annotated Bibliography. And the second thing you keep in mind is that with an annotated bibliography, there is no works cited page. You know, in normal MLA papers, you want to make sure to include a works cited page when you're including source material. In this case, you don't need to include a works cited page, and the reason will become evident in just a moment. And keep in mind, this is the only MLA type paper that stipulates that you have no works cited page. Otherwise, you set up this document exactly the same as you would for any other MLA type assignment. So, know what you're looking for. Now, by the time you write this paper, honestly, your research should be complete. Okay? You'll take all your little research cards, your notes, and the source material, and then you're going to start assembling this document. And for the course I'm teaching, you need 6 sources. You need to choose a primary source, which is which is included in the writing prompt for this assignment. You need to choose a counter-argument source that shows disagreement with that primary source, and then you need to research 3 other sources from JSTOR and one from Gale that are going to be used to support your primary thesis and argument in your paper as outlined in the prompt. Now, next, be very focused in your research, okay? Stay very close to your subject. Sometimes when you're learning how to research, there's a temptation to go really far afield, to go off on tangents and go in weird directions. You don't want to do that. Every new piece of evidence you find needs to tie into your thesis as tightly as possible. And so don't get weird, stay focused. Now when you are creating your works cited page, keep in mind, before you submit this, you need to already have researched everything you will include in your paper. So again, before you write this, get all your research done. Okay? The works cited page that you create must include everything you will include in your paper. This works cited page, like I said, you'll have already created it first. So that's basically your first step, is create your works cited page. And this will include everything that you're going to include in your paper. If you have questions about how to create a works cited page, go back and watch my video about how to create a works cited page. And then the next thing is you're going to add a research summary. So like right here, this is a research summary and works cited information that a previous student had done. And I put all the little dashed lines on there. You need to write 2 paragraphs. The first must be a summary of your source, and the second must explain how your source will affect your paper. The total word count for this section is about 150 words. So you can see this example, that didn't occur. That's fine, that happens. But make sure that when you are doing it, you do it correctly. So next is that you bold what the document should look like. So once you insert your summary, you then need to bold the works cited page. Okay? And the works cited page information, I want to be specific. So all this information right there, that needs to be bolded in there. Okay? And then last, an important difference. Do not include the author's full name, article name, or publisher information in your 2 support paragraphs. The reason for this is that all of the information is included in the works cited page of the document. So right here, you already have the author information, the article name, and you have all the publisher information. So because you have that information, you do not need to include it in the body of your summary or in any of the paragraphs that you write. Basically, if you're going to include the author's name, only include the author's last name. Okay, so that's basically the theory on how this works. Let's go ahead and actually set up a document that's going to reflect this. Basically, you just come over here, you go to Google Docs, you open it up, and then you're going to go ahead and start setting up your document just like you normally would. So I'm going to put my name, and then let's go ahead and put a teacher's name. And then just so we're safe, we're going to go ahead and do our spacing and formatting. So always Times New Roman. And we're also going to insert the page numbers. And this should also be 12-point font, Times New Roman. And yes, your teacher will always be able to tell. And then you include your class information. And then include the dates. Okay. And then let's go down to the title. And then enter, and then at this time I'm going to go ahead and center that in there. Like I said, this is set up pretty much exactly like you normally would for any other assignment, okay? But the title is going to be Annotated Bibliography. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'll grab the information right here from the Works Cited page that we created in that last video, and I'm just going to copy and paste it in. Okay, and so that's all that information right there. So this is the Works Cited page. This is only 3 sources. Like I've said, yours is going to be a bit longer for a larger research paper, 5, 6 sources. In the case of the assignment that for my students, it's 6 sources. Then the next thing you're going to do, this is where you are going to insert those 2 paragraphs, your summary, and then the paragraph on how you are going to, how this source affects your overall paper. So just go ahead and hit enter, and then you go ahead and insert your text. And in this case, I just have sample text that I'm going to include. And you can see automatically that it formats it with hanging indents because it's in the middle of a Works Cited page. And we're going to go ahead and change that. And you'd go ahead and you switch the margins so it goes to 3/4 of an inch. Just remember that one image that I drew the dashed lines. That's how it works. So your hanging indent comes in 1/2 inch. Then on this comes in 3/4 of an inch. And you have 2 paragraphs. Some people like to go ahead and do this, whatever. That way you can keep track of your paragraphs. And then you're basically going to do the same. You're going to insert it all the way down, so you make sure you have your paragraphs in your document like that, and it's already inserted. Now, of course, keep in mind this is just sample text. Yours is going to be unique for every single one of these entries from the Works Cited page. Then your last step after you've completed all this is to go ahead and bold that information in the annotated bibliography. That way you can have, you have a separation between the 2 paragraphs and the Works Cited page information. So that's pretty much how this document should appear. Now, the difficult part of this assignment is actually before you even get here. Doing this part is pretty easy, okay? Because you're just basically taking a Works Cited page, you create the Works Cited page, then once the Works Cited page is correct and you formatted it like you're supposed to, Then you insert your 2 paragraphs, and then from there, once you're done with all that and it's formatted correctly as I've shown here, remember this is 3/4 of an inch, this is 1/2 inch, and this is just go straight to the margin. Once you have it formatted in there correctly, then go ahead and insert your and then you bold everything. You make sure that the works cited portion of your document is bolded where your paragraphs are not. So it's a pretty straightforward document. All the work really though comes in before you actually write it. The research, writing the works cited page, and then writing your summary paragraphs. Whew. I was just in the editing process of this video and I noticed a problem. You know what the problem is? I forgot to tell you what I want you to do in your discussion post today. Terrible if I had forgotten that. You'd have seen see the instructions in the video for the discussion post and nothing would have been there. Bad mistake. Alright, so discussion post. What I want you to do in this discussion post is pretty simple. I want you to go ahead and indicate in the discussion post which essay you want to include. Wesley Yang, or do you want to include Ta-Nehisi Coates? Who are you going to write about? That's who your primary text is. I want you to tell me who your primary text is in this document. And then I want you to tell me who you think, of all the 4 authors we've read so far, Anna Holmes, Andrew Cohen, Wesley Yang, and Ta-Nehisi Coates, of all those, who disagrees the most with your primary text, either Ta-Nehisi Coates or Wesley Yang? Indicate who disagrees the most. And I want to know why. Where do you think the argument is between those authors? And that's going to be pretty important. Now remember, you have to pick 2. You have to pick the primary text and the counter-argument text. And so you're going to have to indicate, so choose one, Wesley Yang or Ta-Nehisi Coates, and then between those 2, then you have to see, of all the other authors we've read so far, where there's the most disagreement between the 2, and then you have to describe what the disagreement is. So in this post, please tell me who your primary text is going to be, and then who disagrees the most with your primary text. And that's it. That's all that is required for the annotated bibliography that you would write for a first-year composition course. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a pleasant day. Bye-bye.